What are some of the needs that Ukraine desperately needs right now?
Well, as you can see, we do need the anti-missile systems and the rockets for those systems, because the number of daily attacks which are coming on the Kiev, I would say civilian infrastructure and civilian cities, is just incredibly big, and we do need those Shahed and missile and ballistic missiles to be shut down, and in large numbers. So we do need those resupplies of those rockets, and it's essential for our citizens, our Ukrainian citizens, to be safe. So we need those rockets and the systems to shut down and close our sky in some way.
And do you have any assurances that the United States, we know that Europe has doubled down on continuing to provide aid and resources to Ukraine? Obviously, nothing can match the type of machinery and weaponry that the United States can provide. Do you have any assurances that that will continue?
Well, I personally don't have any insurances, of course, because I'm here just to represent the position of the military and my unit in what we do. I wouldn't say that it doubled down in Europe. I would say they're trying to double up and scale up their support, because they understand the risks if something really goes bad inside Ukraine. And we're here basically to present the case that, Ukraine is fighting. We will be fighting whether it is supported or not supported. It's not going to change anything if, for some reason, and we hope it's not going to happen, that U.S. will cut all their support. It doesn't mean that we're going to come to a peace treaty with Russia. Their whole goal in this war is to destroy Ukraine, to kill Ukrainians, to destroy the Ukraine nation, which means if we come to any terms of peace with Russia, it's just a short-term break from what will eventually be a full-scale invasion again.
As I've noted, you've participated in a number of theaters of this war thus far, and the latest of which is that Operation Spiderweb, which really just shocked the world in its scale and audacity, and the fact that you were able, after planning for some 16-plus months, to take out a number of Russia's bomber jets that were located thousands of miles away from Ukrainian cities. That asymmetrical warfare, that message is what to the world? That even the United States at times would question, can Ukraine really win? What is your response with those types of operations?
Well, it's not really a message. We're just trying to minimize the capabilities of our enemy to strike those civilian cities. All that strategic aviation was used to bomb civilian cities and critical infrastructure, not to use in the military course. So it was just to respond well-planned, well-organized, supervised by our head of state and the chief of our security services. And it was, I think, an exceptional operation, which will, in long term, will be in the history war books of how to create a covert, very severe damage to your enemy.
And a very clear case and distinction between how Ukraine is fighting this war and how Russia is fighting this war. It appears to be targeting civilian locations. I believe a kindergarten, a maternity ward, just within this last week alone, bombarded by Russia. I mentioned Europe really taking the threat of Russia expanding this war beyond Ukraine seriously. We've just now seen that the EU has introduced a new package of sanctions against Russia, targeting its energy and banks. This is something that, on a bipartisan level, is now supported by members of Congress here in the United States, and yet the president has not yet signed off on that. What is your message to President Trump about that delay in signing off on it?
Well, we would really hope that he will eventually sign it off. It, I think, mean to us that in the near future, the Russian economy will be collapsing faster. It will create internal problems with which the Russian government will have to start to deal, and the citizens of Russia will start to actually ask questions, because right now the only problem is, how to kill Ukrainians, and we want that question be gone from the agenda and start asking the questions how they can survive within Russia.
Let's talk a little bit about your personal life. As I noted, you're wearing a military uniform. Years ago, you were most famous for what you were doing on the tennis court. And before the Russian invasion, you were living in Budapest with your family. You started a vineyard, and then you felt guilty and returned to service there in Ukraine. What keeps you going in terms of not only being apart from your family, but really starting a whole new chapter in your life, leaving your professional tennis career behind you?
Well, I wouldn't want to go into the personal life, but it was not the sense of guilt why I returned to Ukraine. It was a sense of duty. It's the country where I was born. It's the country which I represented for my entire tennis career. And I played under my flag for more than 20 years, representing my country in Davis Cup competition as a part of a national team. So for me, it was something that I must have done at that time. And what keeps me going is very simple. The level of hatred which is shown to us by our adversaries, by our enemy, the way they treat Ukrainians, the way they treat Ukrainian civilians, and I've seen it firsthand in the first years of war when I participated in different operations on the front line, how they treat civilians, how they kill and execute our prisoners of war and civilian Ukrainians. It's something which will never fit in my mind that it can be done by a human being.